excited to be here. Thank you, David, Samantha, Eileen, everybody. Thank you all for coming. Okay, the people way in the back.
Yeah, hello.
Hi. So I'm just gonna do a quick check. Can you hear my voice at this level?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's the only level I needed to check. Okay. So thank you for all this water. I'm very thirsty. I'm so happy with my new book. I love my new book, and it's called A Beautiful Marsupial Afternoon, and it's somatic exercises, rituals that I create that I then put myself through, and while I'm doing it, I then take notes, and then the notes get shaped into poems, and I'm just going to start. I'm going to read the first one in the book. The first one in the book is for Emily Dickinson. I really wanted the book to open up with this one about Emily Dickinson. I love Emily Dickinson so much. All my life I've been so annoyed by this idea that Emily Dickinson is this timid, wilting lily behind the curtains writing her poems. And then whenever anybody says it, I ask them, I said, do you ever think about the fact that centuries of poetry walked up to her door, and then she said, I don't really like what you guys have been doing, literally guys. And she created something brand new that the tools of which we still use today. So Emily Dickinson, she's the real thing. So I'm going to read the exercise and then the poem. And the exercise is titled Anoint Thyself. And I dedicate it to my friends John Coletti and Jess Myles. Visit the home of a deceased poet you admire and bring some natural thing back with you. I went to Emily Dickinson's house the day after a reading event with my friend Susie Timmons. I scraped dirt from the foot of huge trees in the backyard into a little pot. We then drove into the woods where we found miniature pears, apples, and cherries to eat. I meditated in the arms of an oak tree with a pot of Emily's dirt, waking to the flutter of a red cardinal on a branch a foot or so from my face, staring, showing me his little tongue. When I returned to Philadelphia, I didn't shower for 3 days, then rubbed Emily's dirt all over my body, kneaded her rich Massachusetts soil deeply into my flesh, then put on my clothes and went out into the world. Every once in a while, I stuck my nose inside the neck of my shirt to inhale her delicious, sweet earth covering me. I felt re-virginized through the ceremony of my senses. I could feel her power tell me these are the ways to walk and speak and shift each glance into total concentration for maximum usage of our little allotment of time on a planet. Lose and waste no more time, poet. Lose and waste no more time, she said to me as I took note after note on the world around me for the poem. So this is the resulting poem from, so the exercises in the book are on black paper, and then the poem is on white. And this is titled, Emily Dickinson Came to Earth, and Then She Left. Your sweaty party dress and my sweaty party dress lasted a few minutes until the tomato was gone. Someday they will disambiguate you, but not while I'm around. Our species won, Emily, we won. It feels so good to be winning. The flame of victory, pass it around, it never goes out. Dinosaurs ruled Massachusetts. Dinosaurs fucking and laying eggs in Amherst, Boston, Mount Holyoke. Then you appeared, High Priestess, pulling it out of the goddamn garden with both hands. You, Emily, remembered the first time comprehending a struck match can spread a flame. It feels good to win this, fair and square. Protest my assessment all you want. But not needing to dream is like not needing to see the world awaken to itself. Indestructible epiphanies consume the path. And just because you're having fun doesn't mean you're not going to die. Recrimination is a fruit to defy with unexpected appetite. I'll be your outsider if that's how you need me. Electric companies, stupid, threatening letters cannot affect a poet who has faced death. So, there's that one. So I have this very brief story to tell about this one that's kind of exciting for me, the story. This next piece, the exercise involves, this one's not as much fun as the last exercise here, because you're supposed to revisit trauma that you've experienced in your life. And you do it by inducing trance through Philip Glass. Music Philip Glass. And my friend, the poet Philip Marinovich, and I were in New York to hear Anne Waldman read at the Poetry Project. And afterwards we went to this place down the street called Veselka for pierogies. And he said to me, he said, you know, do you have that poem with you that you were telling me about on the phone yesterday using Glass's music? And I was going to read it the next night in Brooklyn at a reading. So I showed it to him. And while he's reading it, Philip Glass sits down at the table right next to where we're sitting. And he says, oh my God, you have to go over there and give it to him. And I said, yeah. And I was being completely retarded for a minute. I said, but I want to read this tomorrow night. He's like, just read another poem, you know, just give this to, you know what I mean? So I did, I went over and I said, Mr. Glass, you know, he's like, oh, you know, call me Philip. But then I have this poem for you that I used your music for. And he said, did you know I was going to be here? He was a little paranoid. And I said, well, my friend Philip and I were just down the street at the Poetry Project to see Anne Waldman. He said, oh, I love Anne Waldman. I love the Poetry Project. So that broke the ice. And then he read it, and he came over and said he liked it. And he put his hands on my shoulder, and this headache that I had just vanished. I thought maybe it was like an adrenaline thing or something. It never came back. So. Anyway, that has nothing to do with the exercise. So the exercise is titled Double Shelter, and I dedicate it to Joshua Beckman. It was his apartment. There are two places, your own home and then a home far away that you're visiting, that you do this exercise with, and it was his home. Quote, thriving requires more than just survival, unquote, from Erica Kaufman. If you're preparing to visit someone far away, first spend time studying everyday structures of your own apartment. Where and how does the light hit walls? Press your ear to the refrigerator. Taste the water with small sips, eyes open, eyes closed. Study the smell and temperature of rooms. Feel your pulse on the toilet, in the shower, by the oven. Cook broccoli with a little oil and salt. Eat it slowly. As soon as you arrive at the house you're visiting, cook broccoli with a little oil and salt. Eat it slowly. Do everything in reverse order, pressing your ear to the refrigerator. How is it different? Take notes while investigating the truth. If there is truth, what does it mean to say the truth? What matters most? The water has what differences? Are they subtle, metallic? Listen to Philip Glass on the floor, on your back, very still, in the dark, just you and Mr. Glass. I chose the song Music and Contrary Motion. Reflect on a personal violence you want undone, some terrible thing that removed the beauty you once lived with. My boyfriend Mark, nicknamed Earth, moved to a queer community in Tennessee to work the land. He meditated in a cave each day where homophobic men followed him, bound and gagged him, covered him with gasoline, and set him on fire. For a long time I would go to sleep and dream of stabbing his murderers, shooting his murderers, drowning, choking, and bludgeoning his murderers. Breathtaking dreams of retribution for the man I loved, which woke me each morning more inconsolable than the last. I was never going to feel happy again, it seemed. Take notes about how the violence in your life will not leave, how it may never leave. So this is the poem I wrote. It's called Express an Interest in Listening or Flowers Won't Bother. Greed, it seems, has no memory. The little bones they throw us break my heart. Some days I taste the world in a poem and want to be of service to that taste. There is no doubt the worst possible things are possible. An epic terrain of anger no one can move out of you. It's best to let flowers do the talking. They say right below your sentry to understand it. They say crying in private helps no one. They say touch a gill of light down there. They say an asterisk is the footnote to a lie. They say, never use permanent in a sentence containing a noun. They say, if dancing is prohibited, leave it once. So I'm going to read just one more of these. This one was a lot of fun to do. The last one wasn't. I'm just going to read it. The exercise is titled Storm-Soaked Bread. Storm-Soaked Bread, and I dedicate it to my friend Julian Berlasky. Sit outside under shelter of a doorway, pavilion, or umbrella on a park bench, but somewhere outside where you can easily touch, smell, taste, feel the storm. Lean your face into the weather, face pointed up to the sky. Stay there for a bit with eyes closed while water fills the wells of your eyes. Come back into the shelter, properly baptized in the beauty of pure elements, and be quiet and sit still a few minutes. Take some preliminary notes about your surroundings. Try not to engage with others who might run to your shelter for cover. If they insist on talking, move. You are a poet with a storm to digest. This isn't time for small talk. You are not running from the storm, you are opening to it. You are in it. Stick a bare arm or foot into the storm. Let your skin take a meditative measure of wind and rain. If you are someone who ran from storms in the past, take time to examine the joys of the experience. Remind yourself you are a human being who is approximately 80% water. So what's the harm of a few drops on the outside? Set an empty cup in the storm. Hold a slice of bread in the storm. Then put a little salt and pepper on your storm-soaked bread, maybe some oregano and garlic. With deliberate slowness, chew your storm bread and drink the storm captured in your cup. Slowly. With a slowness foreign to you. Think the whole slow time of chewing and drinking, how this water has been in a cycle for millions of years, falling to earth, quenching horses, elephants, lizards, dinosaurs, humans. They pissed, they died, their water evaporated and gathered again into clouds to drizzle down and storm down, into rivers, puddles, aqueducts, and ancient cupped hands. So the poem for this one is titled, One Day I Will Step from the Beauty Parlor and Enlist in the Frequency of Starlings. My favorite morning is not carrying its blood on sheets as yours or mine. A machine in your station rides me tracks to snacks, snacks to tracks. I feel very fortunate to know magic is real and poetry is real. You can see it in the writing if a belief in one is missing. A mouse eating the dead cat are longed for malfunction. I was born in Topeka, otherwise they would have never let me in. They circle away holding this place, opening, opening, opening up. I broke the tree down its root. If truth soothes, soothing was not truth's goal. My goal is to do what produces memory, as gentle as vicious can. One promise. When I get to the bottom, I'll accelerate deeper. My small pile of poems surprising everyone along the open wound. Was there a death, they ask? A merger, I say. Everyone paying attention, enjoy your visit. Everyone else, good luck. So I'd like to end with a few poems from my book, The Book of Frank. I'm here for the show, the man said, looking under Frank's shirt for the door. I'm no theater, Frank said. A line formed. Must he admit them all? Many had umbrellas. A blind woman waited with her dog. It's going to be a great show, someone said. But when's he going to let us in? Frank's tears began to fall. Someone ripped his doors open. They filled him for an hour. At the party, everyone traced fingers on their bodies where they preferred to have cancer if they had to have cancer. The host asked Frank where he'd like to have his. What a question, Frank said. I'd like my cancer right here, and traced a circle on the host instead. From the menu of dead authors, Frank orders Emily Dickinson's breast with dumplings and the braised thigh of East Nin. His wife orders Leo Tolstoy's ring finger with caviar and the candied genitals of Jack Kerouac. Kerouac's erection arrives shimmering in gravy. Mmm, she says, nibbling the tip. Frank glares and stabs a breast. At the doctor's request, Frank stopped shaving the chair. In a month, it was the most comfortable chair in the house. Frank hands the cowboy a wad of tissues. These contain semen I produced when thinking of you. The cowboy sniffs them and smiles. Thanks, Frank. I'll put them with the others. Is no one else sick of this paralysis of gravity? Frank asks. When I was a boy, I stepped into the sky, and I was a boy, not a surrealist. Part of the dream is that you accept your waking life as part of the dream. Pig says to Frank, this fence keeps you in your world. Frank says to Pig, this fence keeps you in your world. Pig says to Frank, this fence keeps you in your world. Frank says to Pig, this fence keeps you in your world. Pig says to Frank, this fence keeps you in your world.